Hello, this is Mr. Hypes and my co-host Sally Snake, and this is Coil Crazy. Today we're going to show you guys how to make forms using coil construction. Let's get right down to it. So the first thing you have to do is roll out a base. So any shape that is circular and rounded can work. So you could do a perfect circle, you could do a oval, you could do a rounded cube shape as long as the corners are rounded. Today, I'm going to do a bean shape, like a lima bean, kind of like an oval with a little dip in the side. So, to get that shape, I'm going to roll out a slab, and remembering to flip so it doesn't stick, getting it down to pinky thick, avoiding any lumps, weak spots, and it's looking nice. Check that out, Sally. Oh yeah. Alright, one more roll. Should do. Okay. Now if I wanted to get a perfect circle, I could take a cylinder and trace it around. But I'm just gonna freehand a nice kind of lima bean shape into this slab here. As long as I keep it round. Shape I want. Okay. So there is my lima bean base. Off of this, we're going to build up. This is our foundation, and the coils are going to be the walls. So set this guy to the side for now and start to roll out some coils. The steps to roll out a coil is first get a little chunk of clay. It's about the size of a ping pong ball. Moisten your hands a little bit and roll this into a sphere to start. Once you got a sphere, take this and roll it between your hands until you get the start of a coil shape. Like that. Now you can take this down to the table. And when you first start rolling out coils, this might happen to you. And you roll kind of like this, back and forth, and short and flat rolls. And then you end up with something that looks like this. Kind of a plank. Flat side, fat side, it's not round. And this won't be a good coil, this won't work. So if this starts to happen, just go ahead and scrap it. And get another piece, roll it between your hands. A little too much water. You gotta find the right amount of water. If you get too much, it'll start to slide around, not roll. You can just work it until it dries out a little bit. There we go. Okay, roll between your hands to get a good start. So to avoid that flat-sided coil, lots of long, light, quick rolls. Use your whole hand. Don't press down too hard. And keep going. And there we go. We're starting to get a coil. Now, once your coil is getting to be the same width of your hand, you can no longer just roll back and forth, because you're going to start to get a dip in the center of your coil and two fat ends on the sides. So you got to roll front to back, but also left to right. And you can see I'm working left, working back to the right, left, right. And our goal here is to get something that is in between pinky and pencil width. So right there, it's just a little bit skinnier than a pinky and a little bit thicker than a pencil, and that's perfect. So now we've got our coil, we can go and start to attach it onto our base. Remember that anytime you attach coils, or anytime you attach clay to clay, you've got to score it, slip it, stitch it, and smooth it. So I'm going to score around all the sides of my lima bean. I'm going to score top of my snake. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So you can see there's a base that's been scored around the edges. And here is my coil that's been scored on one side. So now I'm going to slip it, which is adding some water in there. Take my fingertips, dip them into the water cup, and dip that just into the gouges that I just made my scoring disc. Then I'm going to take this coil and start to attach it to that base, pressing it in as I go along. Okay. Once you got that, you can roll out another one.
Remember to take great care when you roll out your snakes.
And now I'm going to score the top of this snake and the bottom of this snake. Put some water on there. Now when I attach this, I'm going to start right here where I left off with my last snake. Start where you left off. This snake wraps onto the top there. And we just keep working that around right on top of that other snake. Alright, once you've got 3 stacks of coils, you're going to want to stitch them all together. Don't wait until you got 10. Don't wait until you got 10 stacks, 5 stacks, any more than 3, and it's going to start to get too unstable. Right? So we're going to go ahead and solidify these, stitch them together. What we're trying to do with our stitching is we're trying to take the clay that is on the outside of this little cylinder here and push it down into this seam and fill that up. So as I stitch, I'm just drawing lines in this all through that clay. And do not be shy about this. You've got to draw some nice deep lines into this clay, or when you smooth it with your fingers, it won't really smooth out well. So we're going to stitch all the way around. Then you can go in with your fingers, and you do this on your table. I'm going to hold it up for demo purposes, but I'm going to brace on the outside, so you can see these fingers right here are bracing the outside of my wall, so that when I'm pressing on it, I'm not mashing it open. We got to brace it. That way, as I smooth, it's supported. Take your time as you smooth. If I'm being too impatient and pressing too hard on my clay right here, I can actually pinch it thin. And my goal here is to not make this any thinner, just to smooth it out. So be patient as you smooth.
The art of smoothing coils is a sacred practice that's been passed down for many centuries.
Until, voila, the whole inside is now nice and smooth. So you can leave these on the outside. I like the look of them. You could also smooth them if you want to, but you don't have to on the outside. You have to smooth one side of the coils for strength reasons though. But you can leave the outside if you like the look of those lines. Okay, so you might be thinking, what's the point of coils? Because we could have just rolled out a slab and wrapped that slab around our lima bean and we would have the same thing, and that's true. You could do what I just did with the slab. But what you can't do with the slab is make these walls go out and in and out and in like you see a lot of vases and pottery do. We can do that with coil. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to have these walls go out. To do that, I'm going to have to run another coil. I'm going to score the top of this. I'm going to score the bottom of my snake. Drizzle a little water in here. when I wrap this snake around these walls, I'm going to let him sit just to the outside of the wall. Like he's almost going to fall off the wall, but not quite. Right on the corner of the existing wall. So I'll show you what that looks like. So you can see how that snake is sitting just on the outside of that wall. And it's almost difficult to tell. This happens just a little bit at a time. Let me add a few more coils on there, and you should start to see it coming out. And there you go. Now you can see this guy. He's starting to come out. Kind of like a nice little lima bean shaped bathtub shape going on here. But you can see the insides are not stitched or smoothed yet, so I'm going to go in and do that. Being extra careful to cradle the outside of my walls as I do this. I'm cradling right here with this hand as I stitch, so that those walls don't fall open. There's what that looks like before I smooth. That's just stitched right now. Go back in here and smooth it all out. Again, being very careful to brace. You can see I'm bracing on the outside as I smooth on the inside. Being careful to not let these walls get thin. I'm just trying to smooth. I'm not trying to pinch them out. And there it is, completely smooth. Now if I was going to eat out of this, I'd have to take and smooth it down even more and get rid of every single little crack, every single little hole, so that it's food safe. But if this is just going to be for sculpture, for decoration, that'll be great. That's perfectly strong right there. I've made my coils go up straight, and I've made them go out. And the other thing you can do with your coils is you can actually make this thing go back in. If I roll out another coil, score it, add water. Now when I lay this coil on, I'm going to lay it just to the inside of the walls, right on the inside corner. And let me do that for a few more coils so you can see it start to happen. There you go, and now you can see that piece starting to close back in using those coils. Still needs to be stitched and smoothed in the inside, so I'll do that now. You can use tools to smooth. I'm going to use the back of this fettling knife to get in here and smooth out these coils.
Snakes use their tongues to smell, and many only eat other snakes.
And there we go. All smoothed out. We made our coils go out, made them go in, made them go around that lima bean shape. And there you go. Alright, that's all for today. I'll see you next week. Say goodbye, Sally.
Goodbye.